Hello and welcome back to the Face Off Podcast. This is just a quick heads up, like a PSA. That's a public service announcement. So if it behooves you, take this and hook it to loudspeakers and put those loudspeakers onto your roof, pointing at the sky, and play this message 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next several months. In order to get it to the alien overlords, to let it break through the clouds and get to Jesus and all the bones of the saints up in heaven. All right, that was a complete and utter bullshit, which brings me nicely to the point of this public service announcement. I'm taking a hiatus from podcasting. As you've probably recognized, it's been a little sketchy in the last couple of months. That's all right. It's fucking wintertime. That's part of getting the big W's, is learning when you got a big fat L sticking in your rectum. So I'm winning the war of winter, but I'm losing the battle of podcasting and having anything interesting to say during winter time. So I'm in Spokane, motherfucking Washington, the hellhole armpit of winter. This winter hasn't been as bad as some winters that I've seen before, but it's still fucking awful, and I hate the cold and snow so fucking much. So if you're somewhere warm, package up that heat, send it this way. I talked to somebody in Phoenix yesterday. They said it was 70 degrees with a low of 45, and I crumbled inside a little bit. I crumbled just a little bit because he was kind of complaining about it, and he was a government official, not an official, but a government worker bee, you know. So I was upset. I felt not great about the whole situation. So what I'm saying, I'm taking a hiatus, like an official hiatus, probably 2 months. Probably look for the Face Off podcast coming back in March, when the snow starts to melt, when the sun starts to work again up here. It's basically just show right now. It appears, but there's no heat behind it. It's nothing. It's just there for looks. It's just a little bit of light. A little bit of light. But I do fully plan to come back. In the meantime, if you get bored, what you should definitely do is start a podcast disseminating and dissecting the Face Off podcast, starting with episode 1. What does it actually mean? Could you find the meaning of life within this weird slice of pop culture, this weird piece of the zeitgeist that is just festering away in a corner of the internet there somewhere and everything. And then by the time I get back to it, you'll be up you'll be getting up to some of the episodes, and then I'll be able to start this podcast, and it'll be about dissecting your podcast, which is about dissecting my podcast, which is about dissecting the movie Face Off. So that's going to be fucking tight, bro. That's another big part of it, is I haven't been able to string 2 fucking sentences together without coughing my balls off for the last 2 months. Fuck, I hate the winter time so much. Oh, God. See, this is what it would be. This is what the podcast would be if I continued. It would be me coughing and complaining the entire time about being cold, because it's so fucking cold right now. All right. Thank you so much for listening. A couple of quick things. I guess just finished a good, interesting book called The Courage to Be Disliked. Very thought-provoking. If you're into thought-provoking books that change the entire way that you think of the world, it takes on the Freudian psychology that rules our modern world, that we don't even understand, rules it from the ground up, just how we think about how things are done. And it replaces it with a psychology by somebody named Alfred Adler, who I just heard of for the first time 3 days ago. So this guy had some interesting ideas, and they're totally antithetical to how he was around in the same time as Freud, and he was Freud's antithesis, basically, saying such shocking things as the past doesn't exist, trauma doesn't exist, massive change can happen instantaneously, things of this nature. The only problems are interrelationship problems. Strive for horizontal relationships, not vertical relationships. This kind of bullshit, craziness. Anyway, it was cool. I like that book. I think it's changed some shit in my brain. Changed some shit in my fucking brain. All right. Other big developments. Last couple of months I've been using an app called Lose It to try to lose some weight, and it's been working. I lost some weight and I feel much better, and also much, much worse, because apparently I've had a horrible posture for 38 years. So as a also been doing ketoing, which is working out pretty good. It's just meat and cheese right now. Trying to figure out how to do it a little less meat and cheesy, but we'll get there. But it's pretty much that simple. I mean, fuck, man. So if you need to lose some weight, go do those things. Check out the Lose It app. Do some keto. It's worked really well for me, and I have a really hard time losing weight, and I was extremely overweight. 340 pounds, tipping the scales. That's the biggest I'd ever been. I'm 285 right now. It's been just a 3 months, so feeling good about that. Also, lost a bunch of weight really, really fast. As a warning, if you're going to lose a bunch of weight really, really fast, your back might start hurting really, really fucking bad. So keep an eye out for that. Check your posture. Get your shit in order, because all your shit's going to move around. If you got a big fat hanging gut and it starts to go away a little bit, your spine's going to twist, and your fucking discs are going to give out, and your neck's going to creak. Am I making this an attractive proposition? That's what's happening to me right now. I'm feeling very backish. But it doesn't happen to everybody, but I have had horrendous posture. The worst posture forever. And so that's the next step. Other than that, fucking nothing. Things have been going all right. December wasn't terrible. Beginning of January was pretty good. I just watched a movie called Diggstown last night. That was fucking dope. It's an old movie with James Woods, Louis Gossett Jr., and that fucking little weirdo. What is that guy's name? Heather Graham's in it too. But I can't remember the other guy's name. A little chubby guy. Shit. God, he's fucking funny too. Oliver Platt, that's the other dude, and Bruce Dern's in it too. He's a fucking douche. It's cool. It's an old movie. It's a boxing con man movie. It's fucking tight. I would recommend it if you're into that kind of thing. Also, watched In Bruges the night before. That was something. And we started watching The Good Place, which I had very, very low expectations for, but have enjoyed very, very much, especially for a network show. I have very little faith in network shows, but The Good Place, it's pretty interesting. It's a lot different than I expected. It's a deep dive into some, well, okay, I won't say it's a deep dive. It's a medium dive into some really interesting philosophy and psychology things. And you wouldn't think it by looking at it, because it's like this sort of afterlife, heaven thing. You know, it looks really kind of goofy. But it's good. It's well acted. It's well written. It's well scripted. It's funny. It's goofy. It's playful. But it also has a good medium dive into some philosophy and weird shit about how do you look at life? How do you look at life, you know? And that's good. We need a little bit more introspection and thought in this motherfucker today. Son of a bitch. You know, I'm almost tempted to say that the Face Off podcast will be back as soon as the government starts up again, but that might be too far away. I might want to start earlier. The thing he said that could go on potentially for years. The way that it sounds now, we get a wall, or we don't get a government, or we get a new president. I don't know how that works. Would they still do an election if it was shut down during the election cycle? I'm excited to find out. This is it's got me jacked. You know what I mean? Because I don't get any money back on my income tax anyway because I owe money to everybody on planet Earth. So I'm jacked by the cracks in the system here. I guess there was some things to talk about a little bit. So thanks for tuning in to this little teeny episode, this little mini episode. Oh, here was another thing. There was a song by a band called Bring Me the Horizon. And I can't remember what it was called, but if you look up the video, it's a video with some guy from this black metal band. I can't remember his name. Danny something. He's from I can't even remember the band name. Jesus, I need to do better research. That's what needs to happen. It really doesn't need to happen, and it's not gonna happen, but it would make things like this. Danny, shit. I can't even remember the band. It's like some fucking crazy black metal, death metal thing. Anyway, it's a cool video. Check it out. And that's it. I was listening to some Johnny Paycheck and David Allan Coe on the fucking YouTube. On the old YouTube, man. Oh, shit. All right. Hey, thanks for your patronage to all the millions and millions of listeners out there. I'm really looking forward to starting a podcast, dissecting every single one of your podcasts that we're dissecting this podcast and dissecting other podcasts also. I think that if we get it going soon enough, everybody could have a podcast dissecting another podcast, which in itself was dissecting another podcast. And it all comes back to Face Off. And just like we knew, everybody in the world is revolving around the movie Face Off. That was the Big Bang. We thought it was billions of years ago. Incorrect, sir. Because things don't happen linearly. They don't happen in a linear fashion, my friend. Things happen in a big, to quote Doctor Who, a big wibbly wobbly timey goo ball. I don't remember how he said it. I don't remember anything. All right, I misquote. That's how I do it. I fucking misquote everything. So the Face Off was actually the Big Bang, which created everything leading up to itself and out and out from itself, and paradoxically creating the conditions in the past in order to facilitate its creation in the future. Billions of years ago and billions of years in the future. All right, I've got to get off of here because this voice is almost gone, baby. It is almost fucking gone. I really got to go. So thank you again, everybody, for here and across the world. We picked up some listeners in Iran. Isn't that an interesting thing? What an interesting cross-section we have here. We have the good old USA, Canada. Yes, Canada, my friend. We have some people in Sweden. That is fantastic, those Swedes. And also the UK. I don't know which part of the UK, but the UK is crumbling fast, so it is getting smaller and smaller. And we'd like to invite, not invite because they're already here, but we'd like to thank our new friends from Iran. And with that, say, hey, catch up, baby, and I'm getting the fuck out of here. So keep it real. Have a great anti-holiday season. The Negatron holiday. I don't think there's anything in between then and now. Maybe some Martin Luther King days coming up, I think. Isn't that right? Nobody's answering. A little. Be safe on St. Patrick's Day. If I don't see you before then, don't kill yourself on Valentine's Day. There's somebody out there for you, baby, even if it's just you. Even if it's just you, it's worth the effort to stick around. I can't do anti-suicide talks, man. It might be a good idea. I'm not sure. All right. Anyway, keep it real. Have a good one. Drive safe. We'll talk to you later. Bye.